Hey guys, welcome back to day 9 of hashtag Poevember 25, the month-long Edgar Allan Poe themed thing that I put on. This is the second year. Welcome back. Haven't figured out beginnings yet. And this one, you guys, this one was a tough one for me, because the prompt today is stars. And I had an idea in my brain on how I wanted to do stars. And then I got home, saw that I got this die set in the mail, and threw out every idea I had, and then immediately regretted it because I made this a bajillion times more complicated than I needed to because I was overthinking it and simultaneously underthinking it. So what I've ended up with is something that I like, but it's kind of my least favorite thing so far. I think this is probably going to take the cake for my least favorite piece that I make this month because I just don't love it. You know what I mean? And we're going to go on this journey together of accepting that sometimes we make stuff that we don't like, and sometimes we make stuff without thinking, and it turns out to be super needlessly complicated. So the first thing that happens is that I was like, oh, I got this in the bag because I got... I have cosmic horror on the brain. I was raised on horror, raised specifically on a lot of different kinds of horror, included Edgar Allan Poe's particular brand, but also, unfortunately, but somewhat fortunately for myself, but unfortunately for the universe and society at large, also H.P. Lovecraft taught me a lot about cosmic horror. First him, and then like H.R. Geiger. So, you know, that's in my brain. But I have this very interesting fascination and love-hate relationship with the concept of space and time, and so I tend to find horror in space as much as I love, like, astronomy. So I included it in the kit because it was in my mind, and I figured in some way, in some shape or form, because Poe does mention stars a lot in his poetry, that he also has horror when it comes to cosmic things like space. And so I was like, perfect, I have this thing, it's a skull, it's in space, it's in stars covered, bada bing, bada boom, you got it, one and done. Could I have just made a fancy Rolodex card and made this little flap in there revealing our cosmic horror and been done with it? Yes. Is that what I should have done? Also, yes. Is that what I did? No. No, I made a waterfall, and what I'm going to do right here, guys, is show you how to make a waterfall all over again. I actually did a very long-form tutorial of this as a live, so if you go to my lives on my channel page, you can get the full breakdown on how to make a waterfall. Don't follow this. This is not it. I'm going to tell you guys right off the top, because I messed this up right off the gate, and some of you can probably figure it out if you've made one of these before, but if you have not, then the error that I have made here is by making this small. I made the waterfall small. Those Rolodex cards have to be able to pass through the belly band. They will not, because they are bigger considerably than these are. So I do catch this. I figure this out eventually, and I go, oh, well, it looks like you just made this whole waterfall mechanism for a completely separate project because you cannot use it here. It takes me a minute to figure it out, though, so give it time. I will come to that conclusion. And, like, that should have probably been my first indication that this project was going to be doomed. It's the first of many red flags. Honestly, the fact that I changed everything about what I was going to do for this prompt, and it probably deserves a redo, honestly, because I do not love this. And I tend to love the stuff that I make, even if I struggle to get there. But this was a struggle, and I still was like, nah, well, it's good. The second mistake that I make, in addition to making the wrong size, you see I've corrected that issue here, is that I use the different weights of paper. So I was trying to use up my scraps because making mini albums makes a crapload of scraps. It's something I have been raging about over on Patreon for a while, and I have a box of scraps that I now have like a determination to finish because I intend to keep making mini albums for as long as I am interested in making them, which means I am going to continue to generate an absurd amount of scrap paper. And as a junk journaler, I cannot just abide letting scrap paper go. So look to next year for ideas on how to use up stupidly cut scraps of paper, because I probably will be doing quite a few videos about that. Like, I wanted to use up the scrap paper I had. The problem is that I cut these Rolodex cards out of like 96-pound cardstock. not 96 pounds, 110 pounds. I'm looking at it right now. This is cut out of 110 pound cardstock. The problem is that the flaps, the mechanism for this is cut out of 65 pound cardstock because I don't have all my brain cells firing at the same time in the way that would benefit me the most. So, it leads to having a flimsy mechanism and a very, very top-heavy top. But also, the top piece is layered of 2 pieces of 110 pound cardstock, which means that it is 220 pounds of cardstock. It's very thick. It's very heavy. It takes a lot of effort to get that flap to close once I start pulling on the little mechanism. So everything works. Actually, the difference in paperweight did not make a dramatic difference, just in the fact that you could tell immediately that the bottom was not the same thickness as the top, and there was a little bit of wobbly likeness that came with it. But then, when you get to that very top card, you go, oh, this is dramatically different. Had I just cut it out of 2 pieces of 65 pound cardstock, it would then be 110 pounds, or 125 pounds, but not so dramatically different from the other cards. But it is in fact 220 pounds of cardstock, and that's enough to be noticeable, enough to make a difference. Now, do I reconcile some of the difference between the top and the bottom parts? I do, by adding in this little bit of paper to the pull tab. It does add some substantial, words are really hard, bear with me guys, I have a stutter, some substantial weight to the bottom. It gives it some structure. But then I get presented with another issue, which you will see, which is an issue I don't typically have, but because all of this was done on the fly with no preparation or forethought, I have mismeasured everything. So the cards are the right size, everything is the right size. That bottom flap there, that little bottom piece, which I would normally just cover up with another piece of paper and be like, ta-da, is in fact in the way. Visually, all the things. Also, I just started using this art glitter glue, and I don't like it. I was trying to sell myself on it a little bit ago, because the glue that I usually use that I like is no longer being sold in the US. Much to my chagrin. So I have started using art glitter glue, and I don't like it. I don't like it because when I put it on paper, as soon as I glue it down, you can see the lines on it that are glued from where the glue hardened, and I hate that. But also, if you smooth it out with your finger, you don't have enough time to stick it to the paper. I don't understand how this glue works or how it's so popular, but it's not my favorite glue. I'm on the quest for better glue. So if you have a better glue that's somewhere, like the acrylic Cosmic Shimmer glue, but applies well, kind of like the art glitter glue, let me know, because I would be very interested in trying alternative glues to this, because I refuse to believe that this is the only other option for good quality glue that sticks most things together. But anyways, so this little flap got in the way, so I cut it off. Usually I wouldn't. If I'm making a waterfall, I wouldn't cut it off, but it also wouldn't be longer than the bottom card, which was the issue I was having, was that I could see it past the Rolodex card on the bottom, so I cut it off. No big deal. The part that needs to be stuck to the belly band is still stuck to the belly band. And then I remembered that I had this pocket here, which I realized after I put the tag inside is on the wrong side. It needs to be on the other side, because that side would be the side sticking out of the album, because this page is on the back side of the page that I'm working on. So I want it to stick on the side of the album that is facing out of the album, so that the tag doesn't get caught on anything. Yeah. No, that's not what happened here. Thankfully, there's enough space on the page, because this waterfall feature is actually a little bit smaller than the actual size of the page, that I was able to shove it all to one side and make the tab work. It's just going to be very annoying to get this tag out. But oh well. It is what it is. This is nothing if not a comedy of errors. So suffice to say, I really like this little peekaboo cosmic horror card. I like the star pattern and how dark it is, because it does sort of fit the vibe without being like overtly gothic. But it's just not my favorite thing. And here's where I'm talking to myself. I'm literally having a whole conversation with myself about how I have made so many errors in the making of this that has made it a very difficult feature, even though it's still at the end of the day a working feature. It does work. You're going to see that in the final bit. And when I stick it down to the page finally afterwards, I didn't do it yet because I still needed to add more stuff to the page. When I do stick it down to the page, it works. Everything about it does the thing it's supposed to do. It just, see, fighting with myself here. But yeah, it just, it's a rough one. So not my favorite thing. Not the worst thing I've ever made, for sure, but not my favorite one. But yeah, as per the rules that I have laid out for myself, I have shared it with you today. Come back tomorrow where I hopefully make something that I like a little bit more than this, with fewer errors, and I will catch you guys all in the next one. Until then, check out the hashtag Poevember25, and happy crafting, guys. I appreciate your faces. Goodbye.